In January of this year, the U.S. Army's 7th Infantry Division became the first active-duty unit to receive the M1304 Stryker ICVVA1 30mm. The 1st Battalion, 17th Infantry Regiment, part of the 2nd Stryker Brigade Combat Team of the 7th Infantry Division, began fielding the M1304, which are equipped with the common remotely operated weapon station and the XM813 Bushmaster II 30mm autocannon. According to Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Blair, these new M1304 will significantly enhance the unit's direct fire lethality. ICVVA1 30mm was previously designated XM1304 and is considered the 3rd generation of the Stryker Armored Combat Vehicle series. It is intended to replace the M1296 Dragoon. The new platform stems from a $942.9 million modernization contract with Oshkosh Defense, Rafael Advanced Defense Systems, and Plaza North America as the primary contractors. The U.S. Army plans to field 269 M1304 across 3 Stryker Brigade combat teams by the end of 2025. As early as 2024, the Army's Program Executive Office for Ground Combat Systems announced plans to upgrade all-in-service M1296 Dragoons to XM1304 within 3 years. This signaled the Army's intent to further enhance the combat capabilities of Stryker brigades. However, the M1296 is not considered outdated. The first unit was only delivered in 2017. So why the need for an upgrade so soon? The latest batches of the M1296 Dragoon use the 3rd generation M1304 Stryker chassis ICVVA1 variant. Compared to the earlier flat bottom hull version, it includes significant upgrades: a double V hull for improved blast protection, an upgraded 450 horsepower Caterpillar C9 diesel engine, and improvements to the suspension, transmission, and power systems. However, with all these upgrades, the ICVVA1 variant's weight increased to 28.6 tons, a 40% increase over the original 20.4-ton FBH version, making it no longer transportable by C-130 aircraft, thus reducing its strategic mobility. In 2015, to improve self-defense capability, the Army approved a project to mount 30mm autocannons on Strykers via remote weapon stations. The XM1296 prototypes were delivered in 2016 for evaluation and officially entered service the next year as the M1296 Dragoon. It features an MCT-30 unmanned turret at the rear of the chassis, armed with an XM813 30mm cannon, a derivative of the Mark 44 Bushmaster II, with a longer barrel and a dual recoil system that improves both first-round hit probability and sustained fire accuracy. It can fire standard NATO 30 by 173mm ammunition, including the Mark 258 armor-piercing round, which can penetrate 100mm of rolled homogeneous armor at 1,000 meters, enough to destroy most light armored vehicles. It can also fire programmable airburst rounds to engage helicopters and drones, making the M1296 one of the few Stryker variants capable of acting as a mobile air defense system. The Army is largely satisfied with the M1296 performance. The XM1304's primary upgrade is the replacement of the MCT-30 turret with Rafael's Samson 30 unmanned turret. This change was driven by the results of a 2017 evaluation, which concluded that the MCT-30's 158-round ammunition capacity, 76 rounds per side, was insufficient for sustained fire. Additionally, the MCT-30's large size and central placement interfered with hatch operations and downgraded the commander's 360-degree periscope to a coaxial scope, reducing situational awareness. In contrast, the Samson 30 is a non-penetrating turret, meaning it doesn't intrude into the vehicle's internal space, making it better suited for lightweight armored platforms like the Stryker. It also includes a commander's panoramic periscope, restoring full hunter-killer capability. The turret can also be equipped with anti-tank guided missiles, smoke grenade launchers, embedded training systems, and active protection systems like Trophy, boosting both firepower and survivability. For a long time, the firepower of various U.S. Army light armor vehicles has been relatively modest, some might even say insufficient. The Stryker Brigade combat teams, which prioritize rapid response, were largely equipped with M1126 Stryker vehicles that only carried M250 caliber heavy machine guns. Even in the heavier armored brigade combat teams, the M2 Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, armed with 25mm cannons, still lag behind the firepower of Russian BMP-2 and BMP-3 vehicles. This gap in direct fire capabilities became especially pronounced in 2012, when the Russian military began fielding the BTR-82A. While the BTR-82A retained the same flawed layout seen in earlier Soviet BTR series vehicles, its 2A72 30mm autocannon proved far more effective in urban assaults and in providing infantry support than the older 14.5mm heavy machine guns. In a notable engagement in September 2024, two BTR-82A ambushed a column of 19 Ukrainian armored vehicles near Kursk, destroying 8 on the spot. Only 5 vehicles at the rear of the formation managed to escape. The ambushed vehicles, including Humvees, Max Pro MRAP, and Kozak II MRAP, were mostly equipped with 12.7mm heavy machine guns, which technically posed a threat to the BTR-82 as an engagement range. However, the superior suppressive firepower of the 30mm cannons left the lighter vehicles with little chance to return fire effectively. These Russian upgrades clearly alarmed the U.S. Army. By 2015, the Stryker Brigade's only source of heavy direct fire came from the M1128 mobile gun system, armed with an M68A2 105mm rifled cannon. However, the MGS was plagued by reliability and logistical issues and was often detached from infantry units to operate independently in cavalry troops. This meant that within infantry companies, only M2 machine guns and 40mm grenade launchers were immediately available for direct fire support, insufficient for suppressing hardened positions or even makeshift enemy bunkers. Worse yet, in engagements where the adversary had 14.5mm or larger caliber weapons, U.S. forces risked being outgunned. As a result, Stryker brigades struggled to outperform even motorized infantry brigade combat teams in assault operations and frequently required backup from armored brigade combat teams. Enhancing the direct firepower of the Stryker brigades thus became an urgent priority. While the earlier M1296 Dragoon provided a partial solution, it was costly and only moderately effective. The newly introduced M1304, however, meets the Army's operational requirements more comprehensively, thanks to improved situational awareness and a better protected chassis. When compared to Russia's BTR-82A, the M1304 has a clear edge. In the latest Army 2030 modernization plan, the Army has declared a shift from a brigade-centric to a division-centric operational model. Under this plan, divisions are categorized into 5 types: reinforced armored divisions, airborne divisions, air assault divisions, and light infantry divisions. Brigades within these divisions will still function as brigade combat teams. In this new structure, Stryker brigades will be subordinate to armored divisions, alongside 2 armored brigade combat teams. Within such a formation, continuing to field base model Strykers with only 12.7mm machine guns would severely limit the division's overall combat capability. Thus, the M1304's induction into service is not only an upgrade in equipment, it is also a key component of the Army's structural transformation, helping prepare the force for a future centered on larger, more self-sufficient divisions with integrated support elements.